Hi, I'm Wayne Tuttle, and this is Chasing Legends. Welcome back. I'm Wayne Tuttle, your host once again. This is Chasing Legends. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment if you want, willing or want to do so. Check out our website at legendofthesuperstitionmountains.com. We're going to get into it this week. This is kind of a special one, a little different. This goes back last summer, early spring. I was contacted by a group out of 6 West Media by Kathy Copa, who was casting for History's Greatest Mysteries with Laurence Fishburne. And she contacted me looking for parties interested. History Channel had given my name. I always will do anything for History Channel. They gave me a program. I got to work on Legend of the Superstition Mountains. So when they've called with Beyond Oak Island or something, I'm more than happy to go overboard 200% to help them out, because I kind of feel I owe them something. They took a chance on me, and I think they've always played pretty fair with me as far as History Channel and A&E is concerned. So nothing but good things, and I enjoy working with the different production companies. In this case, initially I was like, well, who else do you want to have on? I was hoping to get Shoes. I think Shoes was tied up with something else. He wasn't going to be able to fly out and do it, fly to Los Angeles. And Jesse Feldman, but I got a hold of Jesse, and Jesse wasn't going to be able to do it. But I was really trying to get someone to go out, because you spend 3 days eating by yourself, sitting around by yourself, because you only work for an hour or two of that whole time. They bring you in for an hour or two on the sound stage, and that's it. So for the most part, you're just sitting around the hotel, sitting around trying to keep yourself occupied, and ain't much to do. So they had made the contact. I found out I'm going to fly. Well, one of the interesting aspects, this one was so different, was they sent me, it isn't a script, but it's a prepared outline of questions and so forth. So you can prepare and kind of run through some of the stuff and maybe go and tell them, well, I'm not comfortable with this or that. They sent me 2-3 pages. I think it was 3 pages, and I went through it, and the names were wrong, dates were wrong. I mean, it was just a lot of just really stuff that needed to be, corrected. They had just, everything was out of kilter. So I said, hey, I'm going to change a few things here. Do you want me to kind of like, oh yeah, that's fine. We will definitely go through and fix the stuff you need to fix. And then the problem was, it was so much wrong with it as I went through. There was a third of it that was fine. It was in general questions, but they got certain people's names even wrong. And so I said, do you want me to just rewrite the whole thing and just put a new Word document together and send it to you? And they said yes. And I was kind of surprised of like, you really want me to go ahead and just do your question and all that? And yeah, no problem. Get everything correct for us, because we don't want to look stupid. That was nice to hear, because it took a long time for that to happen, because usually you come in and you find literally you're working around the other people's mistakes. Or you can't answer something because just the way it's put. So this was nice. I wish I have the original somewhere, and I have the corrected version. Maybe someday I'll do a video on them. They are very different, and I just tried to make it of, if I was doing the program and asking Dutch hunters in general these general questions, how would I frame them? And I did it that way, which I thought really made sense to anyone who's even just knows a little about the Lost Dutchman story. So very surprised they accepted that, no problem. They the other thing is, when you do one of these programs, they ask you, hey, we're going to fly you out. Do you prefer this or this, American Airlines or Southwest? Do you prefer morning or afternoon or evening? Do you want a window or aisle seat? What would you like? I really don't care. I'm not very picky. I just prefer window seat back of the plane. The reason being, if you see me flying, because I'm generally by myself, I've only gotten filming, I've only got to fly with someone once briefly, and that was Deleel, and we were in separate seats, different places anyways. He got stuck next to the crying baby, if I remember correctly, which was funny. But generally, I want the window so I can lean into the window, look out the window, I listen to music. The only thing you'll ever see me carry through an airport is a book, maybe. So I travel with no bag. I have a bag under the plane. I figure I have a credit card. I have a phone. I can do anything I need to. So that's kind of like how we get started the trip. And generally it's drop me off and I just sit down at the airport, smoke cigarettes, get on a plane, and off I go. Now, the flight over is it's about 2 hours. Yeah, you're on the plane and you sit down and I get my bag and I go out. And the first thing I see is a sign that says smoking. I'm like, this is convenient as hell. So I actually went out and had a cigarette waiting for my bag. Saw my bag come out, put my cigarette out, went in, got my bag, came out, lit another cigarette. And then I go to get my driver because I don't see my driver. He's not there. Check on the driver, and the Uber app and whatever I'm supposed to have there, however they set it up, was not working. And I'm like, so then I go to my Uber app that I would normally use and figure I'll just give them a receipt, and it's not working. Anything I'm trying to get is not going through. I'm looking for help, and a guy comes over, sees the signs, lights a cigarette. I figure this guy looks like he's a world traveler, except he's from France and he only speaks French. So the French guy and I are working on my app on my phone, but we don't understand each other. And we had a nice long conversation. I finally walked over, and I say this with all due respect. There was some girl with a sleeping bag and a backpack with dreadlocks, and hippie girl basically, and she's sitting there on the curb smoking a joint. And I'm standing there looking around, and I looked at her and I said, hey, do you know how I can get an Uber out of here? And she stood up, and the most professional person in the world, she goes, oh yes, what you have to understand is they only use black Uber here. It's only going to be the SUVs. You got to go to this app and do this exactly, and this is the only way you'll get one here. She took my phone, pop, 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 and she said, okay, he'll be here in 5 minutes. So a guy pulls up, get in the SUV. He immediately pulls out right in front of people, starts honking the horn. The entire trip, I do not believe he didn't honk the horn. He honked the horn at least every 10 to 15 seconds. It was just beep, beep, beep. Nice, comfy, he had snacks, he had drinks. There was alcohol back there, but I'm just like, what the heck, man? This guy's like flying around. I'm like holding on for dear life. Get to the hotel, nice accommodation set up, let them know I'm here, everything's good. And then of course I realize I have the whole afternoon, evening, and I don't know what to do with myself, which is the biggest pain because I'm looking around and I'm going, okay, the beach is somewhere behind those buildings off just out my patio window. And I figure, well, I'm going to lay back, relax. I look across the street and I see Ruth Chris Steakhouse. And I'm like, I might go get a steak. So I decide I'll lay back for an hour or so. And then I got some work to do on the laptop. And then I'm just going to go get a steak. And I go to lay down and there's this box truck in the parking lot that the alarm starts going off. For the next 2 to 3 hours, that thing just was just annoying as hell, funny as hell. Okay, that's been going for about 2 hours. Could be a long night. Could be a very long night if this intermittently just keeps going off. Going off and going off. be sleeping through the night with that. It's been going off for 2 hours. Stops and goes off. People keep writing the license plate number down and calling it in. It just keeps going off and off. You get in there, always a new bed, something like that. The weather was nice. I had the patio. That's one thing I also always ask. If they're going to book me someplace, book me in a room that has a patio. I want a patio I can go stand out on. I want to be able to open the window because the ACs never get cold enough and the humidity messes with me. It was really nice weather out. So that night, it was kind of like very quiet, and you know you're not going to sleep. And I'm not a big TV guy, and it's just like, man, how many fans things can I turn in this room to make enough noise to let myself kind of go to sleep? Now, the next morning, I get up, I have breakfast. The night before, I had one of those Japanese, Wasu burgers or whatever. It was real expensive. And they're paying for my meals, so I don't care. But it was pretty good burger, but nothing to shake a stick at, you know. I was like, I don't know how big of a deal it was. But I go get my breakfast, and I stop by the front desk, and I go, hey, I got a lot of time to kill today. Where's the beach? Is there a beach marina somewhere nearby? I can see the ocean at least. Film some of the ocean. Film something. I promised Trevor I'll do a video blog. And right now, I'm filming like me in the elevator and stupid stuff. And I'm like, I need to do something. Walk around, check stuff out. And they told me, yeah, it's about 15 minutes or so. You go out here, and then when you get to the light, make a left. And then you go down to the next light and make a right. And you'll get down, and the beach is just down the road from there, and the marina and all. Oh, okay, fine. So a week or so before, I'd been out back, and I hit my left foot, my small toe, and broke my small toe. So I'm hobbling every place I go. The whole trip, I'm limping, and I got my shoe loose as possible in double socks because it hurts. Every time I end up getting pressure on the outside of my foot, it hurts. Your big toe you think you really need, well, when that small toe's hurting, you don't realize how much you're on the edge of your foot all the time. But, you know, I'm bright, so I decide, well, I'm just going to walk down to the beach. So I get out, I walk down to the corner, testing it, go, oh, my foot feels pretty good. It's nice, wet, nice weather out. I'll be fine. So I start walking along, just taking my time, trying to go get on my heel more on my left foot. Makes me walk funny. Start walking down, I realize, wow, that first light's a ways. Well, the second light's a ways. Get down, and then I finally see the driveway for the marina. I'm in Marina Del Rey. And I start walking down, and then I'm going to the marina, And then I finally get to the marina, and I'm looking around, a lot of boats. Now, I haven't seen a person at this point. There's nobody out walking, nobody anywhere. I'm making little observations of like, man, it's really nice weather out. I see a few people running up and down the, kind of along the, I guess you'd call it the ocean wall there. You know, they have a pathway. So I decided, well, there's got to be a beach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk down, look for the beach. I got a phone. So I can get on my phone and see. And when I open my phone, it's like, oh, there's Venice Beach. Well, I'm going to walk down to Venice Beach, to Venice Pier, and I'll go down there, and then I'll walk around a bit, and then I'll walk back to the hotel. That's not going to take me very long. It's not that far. So I decided to walk down by the pier, and the Marina Del Rey Pier, and then I had the brilliant idea, let's run down to Venice Beach. I got a broken toe, so it's slow progress, but I think I'm lost, so I'm kind of meandering my way, and I think I'll eventually get there, but yeah, I've been walking. They told me 20 minutes to the beach, and I've been walking for an hour or so. But hey, it's good to get out and have a walk, right? Gimping along. When I get to Venice Beach, it's nice. There's some people surfing. There's nobody really on the beach, and nothing's open. It's still really early. Remember, I'm an early riser. So by the time I get to Venice Beach, I've eaten breakfast, done this walk for an hour or two, and I've gotten to Venice Beach. They're just starting to open places down there for breakfast. None of the other shops are open. So I'm down there, so I spend an hour or two down by the beach. All right, I did manage to find the ocean. So I'm still looking for the Dutchman, but I did find the ocean. So I'm out here on Venice Beach Pier. Out at Venice Beach, we got all the surfers out. It's kind of a cool day, so I don't know. To them, it's probably too cool. To me, it's just like, man, this is so perfect. It's like 110 at home. I'm living this up. So, but came out here. They told me it was a 20-minute walk. It took over an hour. So, but I got here, and out in the distance, out here behind me, I don't know if you can see it, but out there's Santa Monica Pier. So, but kind of interesting. So, and then I'm watching the surfers. The surfers haven't been able to catch any waves. They've been just waiting and waiting. Hopefully there'll be something good. There's no benches. I was hoping for a place to sit and rest my foot, and the best I could do was out on the pier where there was no fishermen. I found a spot where I could lean back and then kind of elevate my foot for a while, but it was just throbbing. And that's when I realized I got to get back because this thing's hurting. I need to kind of ice it down a little before I go in and do my interviews and stuff this afternoon. So I begin my trip back. I stop in a place, get a thing of water. I got a bottle of water and got some cigarettes because he just opened. And then that was the place just before I crossed Venice, the canals. And I start walking and I realize, man, I could really sit down. And there's not a bench. There's buses, but there's not a bench. And I think it's because of maybe homeless people or bums or something else. But there is not a bench anywhere. And no one will talk to me, and I try to ask directions because I know kind of where I'm going in the name of the streets, but I'm thinking, man, it just seems so far away, like the Dire Straits song, so far away from me. I'm walking and I can see forever, and I'm like, and then some guy finally said something to me about it's the next light up. And by the time I got to the final stretch, I was ready to call an Uber to have them haul me back in because I was thinking, man, that was, I'm sweating. It's nice out, but I'm sweating because of the pain. I am really hobbling. And then I realized, man, I probably look weird like some homeless creature or whatever. Guy in a black cowboy hat just doing this weird limp down the street. So there's several kinds of people out here. You have the people that you say good morning, and they never make eye contact, and they act like you never existed. And then you have the people you say good morning, and then they try to make sure they make no eye contact. And then the people that ignore you like you're a ghost. And then you have the people that you say good morning and you see their lips move a little. Then there's the people that move, like walk in the street or go to the other side of the street because you're walking. And then there's the people you say good morning and they get very surprised look on their face and seem very happy to say good morning, but it's like a shock. And then 1 out of every 50 people is actually friendly and will just say good morning. I believe those are people from out of town. So it's kind of strange, but just leaving Venice Beach and heading up. I don't know how far I got to walk. I think I got a bit of a walk to take today. So one thing they could put out here is occasionally a bench because I got that broken toe and could use a place to sit for a few minutes. By the way, I'd like to point out that through an entire day I've walked by hundreds of people. There was one gentleman down by Marina del Rey pier, or not pier, where the boats were. And he actually saw me, made eye contact, and said good morning first. And I congratulated him and we shook hands because he was the first and only person I've seen today that initiated it. So he might be the happiest guy in Los Angeles, or at least Marina del Rey, for that matter. So there you go. You have to be curious. What kind of food do they serve, and do you get the massage while you're eating?
Yeah. Different.
So I get back to the hotel. I go up to my room. I take a quick shower. I go down and get a big bag of ice, and then I just wrap it on my foot. Lay back in the bed, realize I got an hour or so before I got to get up and go down to do my interview process. I didn't eat lunch because at that point, once that kind of pain, throbbing pain, you don't really feel like eating. You're nauseous. So I decided not to eat lunch. I'll just go down and do that and grab dinner later. They usually have food there. They have catering. So I figure I'll grab something to eat down there if I'm hungry. Otherwise, I'll just get back and eat dinner tonight. So I'm sitting there, and my guy's coming to pick me up. Another observation I've made is you don't see pickup trucks unless you're a landscaper, I guess. There's no pickup trucks. There's a lot of cars. Every Uber seems to be an SUV, but there are no pickup trucks. Kind of strange world where you come from somewhere where everybody at least has one pickup truck in the driveway. It was one of the, I think it was one of the guys working on the production staff that picked me up to take me down there. So he picked me up. Couldn't understand why they'd put me out so far away. He said, it's beautiful out here. He says, you're in a nice section of town. He says, it's really nice. But he said, man, this is like a 45-minute-hour drive. And we talked. Now, one of my big things I wanted to do was, since we were downtown in Hollywood, I wanted to go down to the Rainbow and get a picture and a little film with the Lemmy statue at the Rainbow. And if you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. But I wanted to stand there with the Lemmy statue. That was a big deal. So I knew we were running behind, so I figured I'll do it afterwards. My foot's hurting, but that's my bucket list thing for this trip. Is get a picture of me with the Lemmy statue. So we get down. It's at a sound stage downtown. We get in. They take me back. They got a catering section. They got all kinds of food. At that point, I was just kind of dehydrated. I wanted something to drink, so I just got a cookie. And I took my cookie, and then they went and found a Dr. Pepper. I don't know if they had any Dr. Pepper or they had to go to another sound stage. So they've placed me in the green room, and they have a table here with water and mints. They had cookies and stuff in the other room. And I got makeup and that next. I don't know. It's kind of crazy looking, but I gotta wait here for a while. So they gave me a cookie. Didn't want anything else. And I'm ready for these really nice people, though. Working out really good so far for all the other stuff. But yeah, you get around here. There's makeup over there. And then green room for everyone over here. Big studio. They got a lot going on, a lot of people around here. So it'd be cool to see how this plays out. The place was really cool. I had some time. They were working on the Titanic episode when I first got there. So they said I could just hang out and stuff. I figured I'd have a couple cigarettes. So I'm just having cigarettes, talking to the staff and the production team and the PAs, and just kind of meeting everybody's acquaintance. How long you been doing this? What have you worked on? Because people have interesting stories. Megan Peterson. Megan Peterson's there. Megan said, hey, somebody could run you around and show you around the place, but my foot was hurting. I said, nah, I'm hobbling. Because it was a lot of stairs to go up and down. I wish I would have felt good, because if my foot hadn't been hurting, I would have loved to tour the sound stages through the place. There was really cool spots. I did explore a little on the ground floor. There was a place set up like an apartment complex, like mailbox. There was little sets, built. It was just kind of cool. So anyways, I go in, I sit down. They got the makeup room with the green room, which is just where you sit and hang out. And there's a couch and stuff. I have my cookie. And then they went to do the makeup. And then, of course, as soon as they sit me down, they start powdering me and stuff. And then they're like, well, we're going to tie your hair back. So they start clipping my hair back. And then, well, we don't like this shirt and we don't like this. And they start, it's like, really? Crap. So they finally get me done. And then they're like, okay, we are all good. They tell me to just sit down, hang out. They're almost ready. And I probably had another 10, 15. I think I went out and had a cigarette. And that's when I got busted by the security, I think. And the security guard told me I need to go outside the sound stage. So I had to go out the gate and stand outside the gate to have a cigarette because there's no smoking allowed on the sound stages. And I decided not to, I'm not even going to argue. I was like, I'm just getting ready to film. You know, you really want me to walk 30, 40 yards out there to walk all the way back when they call me? It just seems stupid. There's nobody out here. Because it's a big open plaza area. And he's like, no, sir, I can't. Okay, no, I understand. So I went out, had my cigarette, come back in, went in. Megan called me in, and that's where it was. I'm trying to remember her name. Can't remember everybody's name now, and I'm really sorry. But they called me in the soundstage. The soundstage is just like a big warehouse full of lights and light set up and everywhere, and green screens and curtains and drapes. And you're really surprised at just, it looks like the kind of warehouse. I always joke that every time I do it, it looks like the kind of place you're looking for plastic on the floor. And sometimes there is plastic on the floor, like they're going to shoot you and wrap you up and take you away. But I don't want to ever tape what they're doing because that's their proprietary right. But I always take a picture of a couple things, you know, try to get the clapboard and perspective from where I'm sitting and perspective from where they're sitting. You can't always see in front of me. There's the lighting. You see, like, I can see Megan. She was asking the questions. They can see the cameramen to the sides of me. But you can't see all the people that are behind the sound people and other people. And then there's usually a producer on the phone that's listening in the feed of what we're doing. Went pretty well, went pretty quick. I asked them to take one break. It was, one of the problems was they wanted me to alter my speaking voice. So I can't remember what it was. Maybe when I see the show, I'll understand what it was more. But I was talking, it was my gravel in my voice. So they wanted it less gravelly. So I can't remember what I asked for water, and then I would have the water sitting out of camera sight, and then every question I would drink water and clear my throat as much as possible for that. And they were good with it then. For some reason, they didn't want the deeper gravelly voice. Don't know why. But hey, that was they're paying for me, so for whatever they want. I was very surprised sitting there. They were just asking me the questions that I did exactly the way I wrote them out and all. And I was like, finally said, hey, that's the stuff I wrote. And they were like, yeah, yep, thank you. And I'm like, that's cool, man. I felt so proud that they were actually listened to me. We finished up. I went back out to have a smoke, saw the security guard. He's eyeballing me. I went around the corner, and there was where they had a little kind of cubby hole, and I just lit up there and started smoking, had a cigarette. He came out, looked at me, shook his head, and then he just walked back in his room. So I think he just decided to let it be. We finished up. I go back to the green room. There's a guy sitting in there for the next, I don't know what he was working on. I didn't ask. But he sits down. I walk in. Hey, Craig, I'm Wayne. Okay. So we sit and shake hands, and I'm looking at him and going, guy looks familiar. He just probably looks like someone I know. I don't know. And I'm thinking Dutch hunting, Titanic. I don't know nothing about the Titanic. So I don't know who the guy is. So I'm just sitting there. We talked for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, had idle chit chat about other stuff. And really nice guy. Very soft spoken and all. We're sitting there. And then we're ready to finish up. They said they got me a driver to get me back to the hotel. Everybody was really sweet to me and talked to me and all that kind of stuff. I get out to the car and got a ride back to the hotel. It was when I got back to the hotel, I was going down for dinner. And I went down, eating another meal by myself. Thanks, Bob and Jesse. Would have been nice to have someone there to sit and talk to. But yeah, I go to eat my dinner and I go, that guy Craig, that's the guy on Pawn Stars that does the gun stuff. And I realized, oh, that was that guy. Cool, but man, I'm sure he thought, wow, what a stuck-up asshole, you know, because I was just looking at him like kind of weird, but not really, you know. He was like, he was funny looking, and he, you know, it was just that nagged me, and I didn't realize it till later. So that was a wrap. Back in my suite. Did not cut my hair, but yeah, it was kind of a funny day. Really nice group of people. They said, yeah, we love everything. Yeah, love the look, everything. Okay, let's pull your hair back. Let's pin your hair back. I had bobby pins. And then it was, well, okay, then they did the makeup. Yes, I finally, the first time ever, they put makeup on me. I don't know if it helped. I don't think it did much at all, except to give me something I had to wipe off my face when I was done. But, so I did get my nose powdered today. Then they didn't like my shirt. So it was literally like, oh, okay. And then they even asked about the hat. And we kind of discussed the hat. They thought about it, but there was kind of, I think there was a little like, okay, you guys asked me to bring the hat, and it's always about the hat. And then you guys want me to lose the hat for this program. And then is anybody going to even know who the hell I am? Because it's like completely changing the way I look. So, but it was very cool. The guy they were interviewing after me, got to meet him in the green room. It was very cool. Craig, had a nice back and forth with him. That was kind of fun. But really great crew, really good people to work with over there. So not surprising, because there's a lot of good people in this industry and all. But kind of very, very nice. And it was kind of a fun time. And they got me in, got me out of there. I got a cookie. They had a lot of snacks and stuff, but I wasn't really hungry at the time. Was hungry once I was done. Came back to the hotel and decided to go get my dinner. So grabbed myself some dinner, and now I'm back up in the suite. And it's a nice, quiet, uneventful evening. It's really nice weather out, so I'm enjoying that. And I figure I'm going to finish my night. I got a beer in the fridge, and I'm going to watch some Skinwalker Ranch. And probably just call it a night, early night. Yeah, I know, old and tired and not up to stuff. I did get into a little trouble. You're not supposed to smoke on the film lots and anywhere in the property, and I kept sneaking cigarettes, and then finally security told me I had to leave, and then I snuck back in and still smoked. So then you got that second night, and you're just trying to settle in and everything else. All right, it's a travel day, so up and about first thing in the morning, and I can't help myself, but I got one left out of the fridge. So in the words of Jim Morrison, last one, woke up this morning, got myself a beer. The future is always uncertain, and the end is always near. So good trip, good people. Can't wait to get home, though. Miss home. So no, we are not taking a shower, but one of the odd things about this place is, one, I don't know what this thing is. It's almost disturbing. So I'm not sure what the extraterrestrial alien probe is in my shower. But more disturbing is, if you take your shower, is this. Yes, you turn and you go, no, we can't do this. So very awkward being in the shower. And yes, you're like, oh, there I am. Not good. Not good optics for me. I'm now waiting on my driver today, Juan. Tomorrow my driver will be 2. Bad joke. Everybody's checking out, so we're all kind of hanging out, waiting for our rides. Everybody's watching me talk to myself. That's, see,
Yeah, I just thought.
the smoking area in the international terminal. You get to watch the planes, and you get to smoke. Best of both worlds. The trip, for the most part, is just a lot of just sitting around. It's kind of like being on a film set, except you don't have to sit around the film set. You're just off somewhere else by yourself. I don't regret the walk or any of it. My foot was really killing me the last day. I was in agony. I was so glad to get home, soak my foot, and put it up and relax. It's funny because when you film, it actually doesn't do, you don't do much, But some reason it's so taxing, you're so happy to go home and go back to work. Because I think it's just I don't have the patience of wanting to sit and wait constantly. Everybody was great to me at 6 West. All the material that I sent them, they would ask about material. I'd send them things, and they basically would send me a check for anything I sent them. They were really top-notch. Great group of people. Not enough nice things I can say. I am hoping the episode of History Channel, History's Greatest Mysteries on the Lost Dutchman tonight, bodes well for everything I did. I do not know who else could be in the program. I gave them names. I don't know who they were using. All I know is I was the only person there that day. I would think there's more people involved, but they were such a great group of people. So I'm trying to remember. I got to look over to see if I can see the name. And Kathy Copa, which I mentioned before, and Megan. Oh, Jessica Gershon. And Jessica was really awesome too. So there was some really good people there, and I can't remember everybody's name, the dozen or so I worked with and the camera people at this point, because it was so brief, an hour or two, and I'm forgetful. But it was really, really good experience with these people. And if the show turns out the way I felt it did, I don't mean for it to be a feather in my cap. It's a feather in their cap, because I don't think the Dutchman gets treated well. The only caveat I'll leave is there are places I wouldn't speak of things, and I want to explain that. When I don't answer something, it was simply because I didn't care if they made it feel controversial, because I just didn't want to answer the question. I just didn't want to put myself in giving honest, straightforward, truthful answers and create problems. It wasn't about hurting feelings. I'm good enough friends, I believe, with the people that I can that would have different opinions, that I can have a different opinion, and we would be fine. I think we're well beyond that in our relationships. It was more about opening up anything where it could lead or say something that could cause anybody any other drama, problems, or people get into conspiracy theories and stuff. So I wanted to keep it really just as professional as possible. And I think you would understand. It's basically, I don't want to get my friends in trouble, and I don't know what they're going to say. And if they're not here to speak their piece, which certain people that I was hoping would be involved in the project weren't there. And I was like, if they were here or you were speaking to them directly, then I would be fine answering that. You say they're not going to be appearing on this, I don't feel as comfortable, because I want them to have their fair piece. So we will see how the program, and when I do my live at the end of the week, we'll be able to address that. If a few of them did end up appearing, that's bad on me. But I did not want, and I will say who the people were maybe at that point. It was like, yes, and you'll understand, I don't want to address that person or something specific to them, because they're not getting to answer their side of things. So where I felt comfortable, and I think I gave very good, succinct answers. I think it should be a good program. Everybody down there that works on that program seems to think the world of Laurence Fishburne, that he's really into the show and he's really into the program and the stuff behind the scenes and stuff. And the people that have met him said he's a really nice guy. That would have been cool. Whether you want to call him Morpheus or the Bowery King. Either way, it would have been cool to meet him. But, oh well. So, History's Greatest Mysteries on tonight. Or I'd look for the July 1st one if you missed this or watch this a day or two later. Thought this would be nice to put this all together, just preceding the show, give you a ton of stuff, The Lost Dutchman and Legend of Superstition Mountains. You can watch this anytime. If you DVR the program, you can watch it back to back, or you can watch this after the effect and all. And then we'll have the live Fridays on YouTube, Legend of the Superstition Mountains YouTube channel. And I'll answer questions about the program at that time, so we'll have some questions and stuff about it. I promise this time I will actually watch myself, because I am curious too what they used or who else they brought into it. I do like the show. The show usually pulls 600,000 to 700,000 people. Let's see if we can spread the word and kick it up a notch and show them the Lost Dutchman does garner and does deserve a little attention. So thank you everybody for watching. This was a fun Chasing Legends to do. It was a fun adventure. This is one of the few Chasing Legends that of the entire circumspect of this, I actually got paid for this. Now it was someone else paid me and it was way back, but I actually got paid for doing all this. So that's a difference. So there you go. I hope everybody else has a great rest of the week. I hope they enjoy the program tonight. And I hope you join us for the live at the end of the week on Friday, Arizona, 4 p.m. all the time. Until the next time, always remember, I'm Wayne Tuttle. You're not. And this was Chasing Legends.